as we all know, if you don't align yourself 100% with the political ideologies of SJWs, then they will vilify you. They'll treat you like you're the worst human being on the planet. They will call you names. They will do all that type of stuff. They will not have anything to do with you, all because you have an opinion that they don't agree with. And we're continuing to see this more and more from the far left, from the SJWs, and from the mainstream media. So there's this man named Doug Tenpal who created the original Earthworm gym game. I never played Earthworm Jim, so I can't really speak on it from that behalf, and I don't even really know who Doug Tenpal is, to be completely honest, but I appreciate the fact that he is brutal with his opinions and that he is not willing to bend to the SJW ideologies. So there's this game journalist named Chris Scullion, who is in fact a very esteemed and well-known journalist who works for mainstream media sites such as CVG, the official Nintendo magazine, UK, Vice, Polygon, and Nintendo Life. So he is a man of high esteem indeed. He apparently has a problem with Doug Tenpal. Why does he have a problem with Doug Tenpal? Well, let's go ahead and find out. So basically, there was an announcement about a new Earthworm gym game that's going to be coming out, and Doug Tenpal is involved with it, along with a team of 10 other people. But Keith Boski says, amazing, this is the reason I bought the Genesis, and it's the only game I ever owned for it. Also, who doesn't love Doug Tenpal? And then Chris Scullion, our esteemed writer, journalist friend, says, quite a few people, to be fair. I'm so excited for this game, but I'm going to struggle to support him personally. Talking about Doug Tenpal, after all. And then he drops a link to an article about Doug Tenpal, who apparently attacked a transgender person. Brutally attacked. So what is this brutal attack that this person is talking about? Well, Heather Alexandria, who works for Kotaku, who we've dealt with a couple times on this channel before, who is quite a cringy person and a raging SJW, says, it's your gal, Heather, with the Earthworm Gym take you didn't know you wanted today, but might enjoy. Maybe, I don't know, gosh, oh my gosh. This person is insanely cringy. Really, really cringy. Anyway, Heather is, in fact, a transgender person Heather is a male who's trying to identify as a female, pretty much. And Tenpal says, Heather, you're a good man and entitled to your opinion. If you ever want to go into why we created the way we did in the 90s, let's chat. So where in this do you see the attack on Heather? Oh, it's because he said that Heather is a man, not a woman. What a brutal, vicious, evil attack. Such an evil attack. Oh man, and the mainstream media, I'm sure, just completely lost it when he did this. And I appreciate the fact that Tenpal is not willing to bend his knee to the political ideologies, to the SJW viewpoints, all of that type of stuff. He just does not conform to their ways of thinking, and I appreciate that so much. I appreciate people who are willing to stand up for themselves and not just go with the norm or the rest of the wave of SJW type of people and stuff. So Doug Tenpal, you have my respect for that. And hey, if you're someone who thinks that transgender people are able to magically be the other kind of gender and stuff or whatever, that's totally fine. I have nothing against that. That is your opinion, and you are totally free and allowed to have that opinion. I think that there is men and there are women, and you can't cross gender. You can't become the other gender or anything. No matter how much you try, you will always be a man or a woman and all of that stuff. So I'm not going to get too much into that, but that's where I stand, and that's obviously where Doug Tenpal stands as well. So because of this tweet that he made here, people just lost it completely, and Chris Scullion, our esteemed journalist friend, obviously is not willing to let this go, is not willing to let go of the fact that Doug Tenpal said that about dear little Heather. So, and the funny thing is that Doug Tenpal isn't the only person working on this game. Let's see here. Chris says, then whether or not Doug is involved shouldn't be an issue, right? Just like I don't care what James Gunn tweeted years ago. It won't affect my viewing of Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Worry about the product, not the creator. That is right, Chris. I totally agree with you. You know, there's a lot of people that have a problem with James Gunn and what James Gunn tweeted all those years ago. But as I've been very vocal about and stuff, I'm not going to just not watch Guardians of the Galaxy because of James Gunn's viewpoints. That's not how I roll. But Chris Scullion has to say, with respect, this is completely different. How's this different? How is this different, Chris?
Gunn posted some silly, tasteless jokes that I personally had no issue with.
Interesting. So you didn't have a problem when it came to pedophilia type of jokes or that type of comments and stuff. But when it comes to transphobic comments, big problems with that.
I can't support a product that will result in money going to someone who is outwardly, unapologetically transphobic.
There's nothing in here that says that he is transphobic. Transphobic means that you are someone who will have literally nothing to do with a trans person, and that's not true. He is having conversation with Heather. He even says, if you ever want to go into why we created the way we did in the 90s, let's chat. He's willing to have a conversation with Heather. He's just not going to call Heather a woman. That's not transphobic. I know that's not what the SJW say. I know that the SJW say that if you don't completely align with their viewpoints, then you are definitely transphobic. But let's see here. Basically, there's 10 other people who are part of this team and stuff. And let's see here. Where's this? Chris Zarek, but whether he makes money or not as a journalist, you report the facts about the game and leave bias at the door. Boom. That is what journalism is supposed to be. Journalism is supposed to be people who are willing to report the news because you are a news site. You're willing to support the news and leave your personal bias at the door. That's what journalism is supposed to be. But these people are not willing to do that. They are not willing to report on a game and report on the actual story of the game without their personal bias getting involved. And that's just, it's ridiculous. And we're seeing this more and more in the mainstream media. If you can't report on the game without letting your opinion of Doug affect your opinion, then you simply recuse yourself from the entire story. I'm not saying you can't have your beliefs or opinions. I'm saying they should never influence your reporting as a journalist. That is incredible. And I totally agree. With respect, my friend, please stop telling me how to do my job. I'm more than capable of reporting on the game, but not mentioning Doug's conduct would also constitute deliberately withholding information that may influence a reader's decision to buy the game. So basically, you want to influence a reader's decision to buy a game or not based on some comments that Doug made. If that's the case, then... Oh, man. If that's the case, then really nobody should be buying games ever because guess what? Every single person makes mistakes. Every single person has some sort of opinion that you're not going to agree with. So if that's the case, then no one should buy a game because everyone's going to have an opinion that you don't agree with. Every creator who makes a game is going to have an opinion that you don't agree with. To be honest, let's see. I'm not going to continue with this person because Chris Scullion is just a cringe person. And then gamers were quick to warn Doug Tenpel on Twitter about social justice warriors attempting to get him deplatformed or removed from the project because he refuses to bend the knee to the regressive left's regime of ideological terror. However, Tenpel responded by saying that Tellerico and the crew knew what they're doing. Not these guys, they know what they're doing. So basically he's talking about his crew of 10 other people that he's working with to create this game. And, that's the thing, It's fine if you don't want to agree, if you don't agree with Doug Tenpel's comments and stuff. That is one thing. But as a journalist, if you're going to let some comments that Doug Tenpel made influence the way that you write your story about the game, you have a big problem. You have a huge issue, and that just continues to prove itself more and more with the SJWs. Especially since Tenpel is not the only person working on this game. He has 10 other people who are working on this game with him. But despite all of that, despite the fact of all of that, just because Doug Tenpel, one individual, is working on the game that you don't agree with on a personal level, you're going to let that affect the way that you write your article about this game. It's I mean, that's just it's the perfect example of the rest of the mainstream media and stuff, and how just skewed they have become with their, their viewpoints and stuff. Tellerico actually popped in to say some interesting things about this. I totally respect everyone's right to decide whatever the heck they want. No worries. The reality is, if we do the game with Doug, some people may get upset. If we did the game without Doug, other people would get upset. So it's a no-win situation no matter what it is. As it's absolutely impossible in this day and age to please everyone. But it's very important to note that although Doug was the creator of the actual character, it was the entire team of 10 of us who created the experience that everyone knows and loves. And I'm glad that these people are not bending to SJWs. That is just fantastic, and because of that, I definitely will try to support Earthworm Jim if I can, and the new game that's going to be coming out. And I appreciate the fact that there are still people out there who are willing to stand up against these lunatics. So with that being said, I just hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, then consider subscribing to the channel. Thank you for all of your support, and I will talk to you all very soon in another video. Talk to you later. Bye.